I would like to call our last speaker of the day, but we say in Hebrew, but the nicest. I would like to call Aviram Atzaba, the Director of Methodology and Audit of the Methodology and Audit Center in the Israeli's National Cyber Directorate. Aviram has served in several positions in the Israeli Air Force in the fields of avionics systems, network-centric warfare, and cyber warfare. He will share with us some of the INCD's important point of views around healthcare defense. And personally, I can say from the work that we're doing around healthcare, INCD's involvement is increasing, and that's really a blessing. So thank you. Please welcome Aviram Atzaba.
Okay, hi. Good afternoon. I will speak, my name is Aviram, as I was presented quite longly. The issue that I'm going to discuss today is the role of INCD, the Israeli National Cyber Directorate, and the initiatives that we started on healthcare cybersecurity. Cybersecurity or cyber in healthcare exists for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 decades. And we have already computers and networks, and as we spoke about IOMT and a lot of computerized technology in hospitals, in medical equipment. What I claim, and I'm not the first one, is that healthcare is in cyberspace. And as the famous book states, the cheese has moved, okay? And in order to understand what we have to do in healthcare, we have to understand cyberspace, and not the other way around. I'll speak briefly about the environment of cyberspace as it relates to medicine, and then I'll go to our initiatives to cope with it. If we are speaking about the regulatory environment, we have in Israel since 2002 regulations for the critical infrastructure and how to secure them. And we have a lot of specific regulators. For example, the Ministry of Health putting specific regulation for cybersecurity in healthcare. And we have it for finance, and we have it for energy. And in 2017, we published exactly a year from ago this methodology, which is the methodology for an organization, stating how should an organization protect itself. It is relevant for every organization, including all the health organizations, and I'm sure that if a hospital takes this book and performs the basic things that are here, it will jump in its security level. What we did since last year with this book, together with regulators and other entities, I'll speak in this briefing. But the technological environment is also changing. And if years ago we said that we have to protect the organization against the threats, now we are taking a more NIST-like approach, saying that we have to protect the organization, but we know that it will be infiltrated, and we have to take the precautions in order to detect the intruder and to minimize the operational risk for the organization, the health risk for our patients. And there are a lot of technological developments in those areas, as we saw just a few minutes ago. A lot of Israeli and non-Israeli startups that are entering into many areas like the intelligence area, and how to protect sub-entities in the organization, how to monitor the organization and understand what we have in the network, rating technologies in order to understand how secure is the organization, because there is a question, what is secure? A lot of technology that is being developed nowadays. And service environments. There are a lot of companies that can help you make sure that you are more secure. Starting with cloud, if you put correctly your data in the cloud, usually it is more safe than protecting it in your own organization, but you have to do it correctly. Other things is if you don't have a CISO in the organization, you can have a CISO as a service, or you can have SOC as a service, or incident response as a service. So you don't have to have all the capabilities within your organization. It is very costly and it is very knowledge consuming. So you can buy it nowadays, and it's important to buy those services. You can even buy legal advice for breaches, and you can buy PR or crisis management services. So there are a lot of services a hospital or an organization can take in order to make sure that it is safer and it can cope better with the crisis. Methodology. Nowadays, we are moving from compliance methodologies, or we moved already, to risk-based methodologies. And we see the risk entities in an organization as responsible also for the risk of cyber. It's not only financial risk, it's not only liability risk for an organization, it is also cyber risk. And cyber risk has to be incorporated into the risk management of the organizations. And the threat, the attacker. As you spoke about it, the attack surface is growing, and it's growing exponentially. Everything nowadays in healthcare is connected to the network, and from the network to the internet. But also the attackers are becoming more and more sophisticated, and their capabilities are increasing because they develop capabilities, but they also get capabilities that leak from governments and from other very powerful entities. So what was a capability of a state a year ago can be a capability of an organization crime or a hacktivist nowadays. And the motivations. The motivations are varied, and as we saw, sometimes the motivation that is not economical causes a very big economical damage. Sometimes it's an economical incentive, sometimes it can be a political, or it can be social. So there are a lot of development in the threat environment. This is the environment. Where can we, as the INCD, come and help? So first of all, we access knowledge. We develop a methodology, and we are developing a lot of knowledge and awareness in the cybersecurity area. We have a benchmark. This methodology defines for an organization, do a self-assessment, understand what are your risks, what are your assets, and understand what is expected from you as a minimal. This is something that was not existent before and now exists. What also we are doing, we are working with the health regulator, with the Ministry of Health, to take this book and convert its language to the medical language, to the medical risks, to the assessment of medical, because medical entities and networks are very OT and beginning to be IOMT populated. So we are converting this book to speak on the medical language. Another thing we are doing is we are working with hospitals to build a framework for a hospital. So we will have a derivation of this book specifically for hospital to show a typical hospital and how it can be protected. Each hospital then has to take this methodology and tailor it to its own specifications. YUVAL System. This is an application that is going to be on our site starting on the third quarter of this year. A pilot already is working nowadays, and it is going to mechanize this methodology, but it is also going to mechanize a lot of other things. For example, the first application that we are inaugurating is the supply chain methodology. Each company can send its suppliers to this application. It will have a methodology of self-assessment, but also an audited methodology for high-risk suppliers. And you can raise your security by raising your supply security using this system. This is going to be a platform for all the knowledge that we are going to provide to the market. Of course, it's free and everybody can enter and get it. Right now it's in Hebrew. Maybe someday it will be in English. Services. What we understand is we have to have an Israeli stamp of quality for cybersecurity services. For example, if you have an incident response company, we want to have an Israeli stamp saying that their practices and their knowledge is sufficient for having a quality service. If you have a supplier, we want to have a stamp for the supplier showing that he is a supplier that gives you the minimum level of security that is requested according to the risk it provides. It's not the same a cloud provider than somebody that comes to check your equipment in your hospital. So it's going to be a risk-based stamp of approval. We have defined 5 professions, and we have inaugurated the first one, the practitioner, which is the low-level cybersecurity hands-on guy. By the end of 2018, we will have hundreds of Israelis that have this certificate, and we are going to put it mandatory for government offices and critical infrastructures, and hopefully all the rest of the market can enjoy from those guys. This is the number of the CERT. If you have any problem, call them. They can help you. They can help you or by pointing where to get data or information or help. And if you are critical on the state level, they can help you also by sending IR and actual help. But this is a number that should be used. It's important from our side also to report to them breaches, because we are building a database of breaches in order to start collecting and understanding what is going on in the Israeli market. A big gap today, and we are trying to cope with it. Cyber insurance. In the morning I was in the cyber insurance conference. If cyber is risk-based, then insurance is one of the pillars how to mitigate the risk. And right now, this market is not boiling yet, but it's beginning to hit. And we see the heat going exponentially, especially in heavily regulated environments like the US, like now Europe with the GDPR, and hopefully Israel. Not because of regulation, but because of awareness of the market and the buildup of insurance tools that organizations will be able to use. For sure, in 10 years from now, cyber insurance will be everywhere. In the building that you buy, because it will be a smart building. In your own possessions insurance, because they can steal you the jewelry, but they can steal you your data. And of course, in organizations. Also in the cars. So, to summarize, what I am showing here is things that we are doing in order to try to promote the knowledge, the regulation, and the assistance to the cyber security in a whole, and specifically for the healthcare organizations. What is expected from you is to manage your risks. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Aviram. It was an exciting day after a year of working for this session. And first of all, from your behalf, I would like to thank Gali, to thank Ilana, to thank Ophir for this special day, the CYBERWEEK, first time here in the CYBERWEEK in Tel Aviv Cyber Institute Research. And it's nice. Thank you very much again. You can clap your hands, guys. let's say again, I did it in the morning, dreams come true. Anyhow, it was an interesting challenge, and I think we have success to bring here a main issue for discussion, and certainly as a subject for research, this is the main point of this institute. And we have worked hard to find research and to be more interesting next year, and we will work hard. And I would like to thank you again, everybody. Thank you very much.